Hello everyone, I am Anna Rose Ayaon, and today I will be discussing the continuation of Chapter 3, Appropriateness and Alignment of Assessment Method to Learning Outcomes. So, teacher observations are a form of ongoing assessment usually done in combination with oral questioning. Teachers regularly observe students to check on their understanding by watching how students respond to oral questions and behave during individual and collaborative activities. The teacher can get information if learning is taking place in the classroom. Nonverbal cues communicate how learnings are doing. Teachers have to be watchful if students are losing attention, misbehaving, or appear non-participative in classroom activities. It would be beneficial if teachers make observational or anecdotal notes to describe how students learn in terms of concept building, problem solving, and communication skills. So, teacher observation, it focuses on the teachers checking the understanding of the students and observe on how they respond to oral questioning and other activities, and also by watching the students if they are losing interest or they are not participating in the class. This assessment method can also be used to assess the effectiveness of teaching strategies and academic interventions. Information gathered from observation reveal the strengths and weaknesses of individual students in the class as a whole. Student self-assessment is one of the standards of quality assessment identified by Chapius and Stigens 2009. It is the process where the students are given a chance to reflect and rate their own work and judge how well they have performed in relation to a set of assessment criteria. Students track and evaluate their own progress or performance. These are self-monitoring techniques like activity checklist, diaries, and self-report inventories. The latter are a questionnaire or surveys that students fill out to reveal their attitudes and beliefs about themselves and others. Studies show that self-assessment exercise provides students with an opportunity to reflect on their performance, monitor their learning progress, motivate them to do well, and give feedback to the teacher, which the latter can use to improve the subject course. Self-assessment enhances students' achievement, improves self-efficacy, and promotes a mastery goal orientation and more meaningful learning. It is an essential component of formative assessment. So, student self-assessment, it is the process where students given a chance to rate their own works on how they perform in relation to a set of assessment criteria. Also, students track and evaluate their own progress or performance. And through this self-assessment, teachers can help the students improving themselves. And now, let's proceed to matching learning targets with assessment methods. In an outcome-based approach, teaching methods and resources that are used to learning, as well as assessment tasks and rubrics, are explicitly linked to the program and course learning outcomes. Biggs and Tang 2007 call this constructive alignment. Constructive alignment provides the how-to by verifying that the teaching learning activities, or the TLAS, and the assessment tasks, ATS, activate the same verbs as in the ILOS. Hence, it is vital that the teacher considers the domain of learning and the level of thinking she would like to measure. The performance verbs in the ILOS are indicators of the methods of assessment suitable to measure and evaluate student learning. So, constructive alignment is a principle used for devising teaching and learning activities and assessment tasks that directly address the intended learning outcomes in a way not typically achieved in traditional lectures, tutorial, classes, and examinations. Information only becomes knowledge when you do something with it. When you describe this doing that the students should do. For example, students have to apply, calculate, compare, analyze, interpret, and integrate the information in order for them to create their own knowledge. So, a learning target is defined as a description of performance that includes what learners know and be able to do. It contains the criteria used to judge student performance. It is derived from national and local standards. This definition is similar to that a learning outcome. So it is description of performance that includes what learners or students should know and be able to do. So Macmillan 2007 prepared a scorecard as a guide on how well a particular assessment method measures each level of learning. So here is the table 3.4 learning targets and assessment methods by Macmillan 2007 depicts the relative strength of each assessment method and measuring different learning targets. So these are the assessment methods. So these are the following targets: knowledge and simple understanding, selected response and brief constructed response 5, essay 4, performance task 3, oral questioning 4, observation 3, student self-assessment 3. Deep understanding and reasoning, selected response and brief constructed response 2, essay 5, performance task 4, oral questioning 4, observation 2, student self-assessment 3. Skills, selected response and brief constructed response 1, essay 3, performance task 5, oral questioning 2, observation 5, student self-assessment 3. Products, selected response and brief constructed response 1, essay 1, performance task 5, oral questioning 2, observation 4, student self-assessment 4. Effect, selected response and brief constructed response 1, essay 2, performance task 4, oral questioning 4, observation 4, and student self-assessment 5. And now let's proceed to knowledge and simple understanding. So, knowledge and simple understanding pertains to mastery of substantive subject matter and procedures. In the revised Bloom's taxonomy, this covers the lower order thinking skills of remembering, understanding, and applying. Selected response and constructed response items are best in assessing low learning targets in terms of coverage and efficiency. A vast amount of knowledge can be assessed even in a limited time, and such test formats are easy to correct. So, knowledge and simple understanding in revised Bloom's taxonomy, it said that knowledge and simple understanding ay nauukol sa karunungan ng mahalagang paksa at pamamaraan. Facts, concepts, principles, and procedures delegate to pencil and paper tests quite well. Essay elicit original response and response patterns. They are effective especially if students are required to organize, connect, or integrate ideas. They can also be used to assess writing skills of students. Oral questioning can be used to assess knowledge and simple understanding, but it is not as efficient as selected response items. Oral questions are often used during instruction, albeit informally, to check for mastery and understanding of a limited amount of factual information and provide immediate progress feedback. Deep understanding and reasoning involve higher thinking skills of analyzing, evaluating, and synthesizing. And checking for deep understanding and reasoning essays are best. They can be used to assess complex learning outcomes because students are required to demonstrate their reasoning and thinking skills. So, ang deep understanding and reasoning, ito ay kinabibilangan ng mas mataas na mga kasanayan sa pag-iisip, pagsusuri at pagbuo. Sa pagsuri para sa malalim na pag-unawa at pangangatwiran. They can be used to assess complex learning outcomes because students are required to demonstrate their reasoning and thinking skills. For instance, students might be asked to compare and contrast two topics or ideas or explain the pros and cons of an argument. So, through essay, teacher can detect errors and factual content, writing, and reasoning. So, oral questioning can also assess deep understanding and reasoning, but it is less time efficient than essays. Performance tasks are effective as well. For example, in preparing an action research on motivation or mastery, the teacher can infer about a student's choice of sampling, data collection method, and descriptive statistic, and her ability to interpret data and make conclusions. To challenge students at various levels of understanding, an interpretative exercise may be considered. So, skills performance assessment is obviously the superior assessment method. When used in real life and meaningful context, it becomes an authentic assessment. Performance assessment are suited for application with less structured problems where problem identification, collection, organization, integration, and evaluation of information and originality are emphasized. So, it So in the skills, performance assessment is obviously the superior assessment method. Performance assessment are suited for application with less structured problems. Additionally, they are used when students are tasked to conduct an oral presentation or physical performance or create a product. So as mentioned, products are most adequately assessed through performance tasks. A product is a substantial and tangible output that showcases a student's understanding of concept and skills and their ability to apply, analyze, evaluate, and integrate those concepts and skills. As you can see, it subsumes all levels of the cognitive domain. Examples of products include musical composition, stories, poems, research studies, drawings, model constructions, and multimedia materials. The knowledge level tests can be used to check if students know the components or elements of the product. Extended written essays provide a strong match only when the product is written. So, affect cannot be assessed simply by selected response or brief constructed response test. Affect pertains to attitudes, interests, and values students manifest. The best method for this learning target is the self-assessment. Most commonly, this is in the form of student responses to self-report, affective inventories using rating scales. In a study conducted by Stiggins and Pupam 2009, these are two affective variables influenced by teachers who employ assessment formatively in their classes. So the two are academic efficacy and eagerness to learn. These are strengthened through self-assessment, students' behavior and reaction to instructional activities are certainly perceptible. So, affect are not just simply assessed by selected response or brief constructed response tests. Affect relates to attitude, interests, and values of the student's manifesto. In a study conducted by Stiggins and Puham, there are two affective variables influenced by teachers who employ assessment formatively in their classes. So these are academic efficacy, which perceive ability to succeed, and sense of control over one's academic well-being, in the eagerness to learn. Oral questioning may also work in assessing affective traits. Telling and enlightening results can be obtained when the student is honest and revealing his/her feelings. As for performance assessment, this method can be used to assess a student's affect when the teacher conducts observations during execution of the task. However, as Macmillan 2007 asserted, observation done in a performance assessment are usually non-systematic, and the teacher has to make an unbiased interpretation and inference about the student's effect. The K-12 basic education curriculum has a balanced assessment program. It utilizes both traditional and authentic assessment tools and techniques to get valid and reliable evidences of student learning. So this is the table 3.5 display the guide for assessing learning outcomes for grade 1. So what to assess? Content of the curriculum, facts and information that learners acquire. How to assess, quizzes, multiple choice, true or false matching type, constructed response. 2. Oral participation. 3. Periodical tests. How to score. Row score, rubrics, row score. How to utilize results. To identify individual learner with specific needs for academic interventions and individual instructions. Cognitive operations that learners perform on facts and information for constructing meanings. How to assess, quizzes, outlining, organizing, analyzing, interpreting, translating, converting, or expressing the information in other format. Constructing graphs, flowcharts, maps, or graphic organizer. Transforming a textual presentation into a diagram. Drawing or painting pictures. Other output. 2. Oral participation. How to score row scores, rubrics. How to utilize results to identify learners with similar needs for academic interventions in small group instruction. To assess effectiveness of teaching and learning strategies. So, what to assess, explanation, interpretation, application. How to assess. Quizzes. Explain, justify something based on facts, data, phenomena, or evidence. Tell, retell stories. Make connections of what was learned in real-life situation. 2. Oral discourse or recitation. 3. Open-ended tests. How to score, row score, rubrics. How to utilize result to evaluate instructional materials used, to design instructional materials. Lastly, what to assess learners' authentic tasks as evidence of understanding multiple intelligence. How to assess participation, projects, homework, experiments, portfolio, others. How to score, rubrics. How to utilize results to assess and improve classroom instruction, to design and service training program of teachers in the core subjects of the curriculum. As for the tertiary level, CHED underscores the importance of preparing a learning plan as a tool to check the match between learning outcomes, content, and methodology. So this is the table 3.6, sample elements of a learning plan. So learning outcomes. Perform algebraic operations using algebraic expression with grouping symbols and or exponential expressions, and explain solutions through board work. Topics, constant and variables, order of operation, integral exponents, fundamental operation of algebraic expressions. Activities, lecture, demonstration, peer teaching, cooperative learning. Resources, LCD projector, paper and pen, worksheet, and assessment, board work activities, problem-solving exercises, and performance tasks. Teachers should realize that a cookie-cutter approach and assessment will simply not do. No single assessment method or tool will go with all types of learning. It would be difficult to assess learning outcomes utilizing just one method. A combination of direct and indirect would be advisable. And that's all. Thank you.